If it weren't for the sudden downpour, Olivia wouldn't have hesitated to step into Riley's house. She was just here to drop off something and should have left after that. What do you want to drink? This rain won't stop anytime soon, Riley, with his hooked eyes, casually remarked, scanning her. Olivia patted her backpack, saying, "No need to trouble yourself, I've got water in the bag." Riley grinned and sat down, lifting the bag Olivia brought and inspecting it. He asked, "Is your cousin very busy lately? He couldn't spare time to deliver this?" Olivia replied sarcastically, "As long as the package is delivered, that's fine. Why does he have to personally deliver it? Doesn't he need to work hard to earn money? Otherwise, how could he afford to buy you gifts?" Riley chuckled and said, "Young lady, you've got quite the temper. I've noticed you're quite interesting. Since you find me so annoying, you don't have to come. You know, Miles is your cousin, otherwise, I might think Miles is your boyfriend, considering how jealous you sound." Olivia retorted, "I indeed dislike coming here. Every time my cousin comes over to deliver things for you, I feel guilty when I go back and face my sister-in-law. I've always wanted to ask you, you're good-looking, not that old, and capable. Why do you insist on getting involved with a married man? What could be the outcome? Aren't you just putting yourself in a difficult position?" Riley lit a slender cigarette, revealing the hollows in her cheeks as she exhaled smoke. She looked into the distance through the wisps of smoke and said, "I got myself involved a long time ago. You, a little kid, wouldn't understand. If we had married back then, I would be your sister-in-law now." Olivia exclaimed, You've known each other for a long time? You've even dated. Then, why didn't you get married?" Riley chuckled self-deprecatingly, then turned serious, lost in memories. She said, "If that kid of mine had been born, they would be in elementary school by now." Olivia was greatly shocked. She had always thought her cousin and this woman had a typical extramarital affair, but it turned out they not only lived openly but the woman even bore her cousin's child. Olivia didn't press further, and Riley seemed to have opened a Pandora's box of words that couldn't be closed, speaking on her own. "That year when I found out I was pregnant, I was overjoyed, planning to surprise him once the baby was stable. But he told me he was getting married to someone else. He said staying together would only lead to poverty. If we each found someone better off, we could avoid a lot of hardship and detours." Olivia widened her eyes. She had always thought her cousin had someone on the side, but hearing it from the other woman's perspective, she witnessed another, more questionable side of her cousin. "And then?" Olivia asked. "Did he just say that and leave it at that?" Riley took a harsh drag of her cigarette, exhaling forcefully. "I told him I was pregnant, and he asked me to get rid of it. We didn't have money then. We went to a small clinic, the abortion wasn't done properly, and I wasn't taken care of afterward. I might find it hard to conceive now." Olivia stood up abruptly, asking, "After he treated you like that, how could you turn around and become his mistress? Where's your self-respect?" Riley laughed and countered, "If you dislike me so much, how can you still willingly run errands for him, occasionally coming over to serve me? Where's your self-respect?" Olivia was at a loss for words, her face tense. She turned to look out of the window, seeing that the rain showed no sign of letting up, and sat back down, frustrated. She certainly didn't want to act as a messenger between Miles and his mistress, engaging in this enabling behavior, but she couldn't refuse. After all, Miles had done a great favor for her family. They were distant relatives, barely connected, but their hometowns were close, leading to occasional interactions between their families. Miles was the most successful person in the village. One year, he returned to his hometown and sponsored 3 impoverished students, Olivia being one of them. In her senior year of high school, when her only family, her grandmother, fell seriously ill, she almost gave up her education. It was Miles who appeared just in time, supporting her family through the tough times. After her grandmother's passing, Olivia became an orphan. Instead of returning home after completing her studies, she entered the workforce through Miles' connections. It could be said that Miles had bestowed great kindness upon her. So when Miles found her and asked for help taking care of Riley, who he had kept outside of his official life, she knew it was wrong but couldn't bring herself to refuse. However, she didn't need to explain all of this to Riley. No matter how much she resisted in her heart, her feelings always leaned toward Miles. Yet, after hearing Riley's revelations just now, she began to doubt herself. If what Riley said was true, her cousin was. Lily, her sister-in-law, was even more pitiful. She not only didn't know about her husband's affairs but was also just a tool for his climb, not even aware of the extent of his betrayal. Olivia regretted leaving her house today. If she hadn't, she wouldn't have encountered this rain, wouldn't have been delayed at Riley's house, and wouldn't have learned these secrets she wasn't supposed to know. After the rain stopped, Olivia hurriedly left Riley's house. It wasn't until she reached the subway station, where electronic tickets were required, that she realized she had left her phone at Riley's. Annoyed, she rushed back. At the entrance of the residential complex, she coincidentally caught a man swiping his access card. She followed him closely, benefiting from his access at the main gate and the unit entrance. When she saw the man press the 8th floor button in the elevator, she felt uneasy. This building had 2 households on each floor, and Riley lived on the 8th floor. The neighbor next door had gone on vacation to Hainan a few days ago. The man turned to her and asked, "Which floor are you going to?" Olivia thought for a moment and said, "10th floor. I forgot my card, I'll walk up later." The man didn't say anything. After the door opened, he headed straight for Riley's apartment. That day, Olivia waited in a hidden spot downstairs for over 3 hours until she saw the man leave. Only then did she climb upstairs to retrieve her phone from Riley's place. That evening, she shared everything she had observed at Riley's with Miles. Her actions were driven by her own motives. Regardless of Miles' past mistreatment of Riley, she hoped Miles would quickly break ties with Riley now. It was the best opportunity. But as a distant relative and a trusted confidant, she couldn't say too much. She could only hope for Miles' enlightenment. At that moment, Miles showed no immediate reaction, just sitting there in a daze. After a long while, he said, "Pretend you didn't see anything about this matter." Olivia nearly fainted from exasperation. She had thought that Miles intended to acknowledge his own guilt while putting a metaphorical green hat on Lily. She believed he would use his remorse towards Riley to resolve the situation. However, unexpectedly, he went to confront Riley directly. But this time, the confrontation led him down an irreversible path. That evening, after having dinner and planning to catch up on TV series, Olivia's phone rang. As Olivia answered, she heard Lily crying on the other end, "Olivia, your cousin had a car accident. They're trying to save him at the first hospital. Hurry, come over." Startled, Olivia jumped up, hastily putting on clothes before heading out. At the hospital, Olivia saw Lily sitting on the floor, crying. From Lily's fragmented explanations, Olivia understood one thing: Miles had been in a car accident on his way to Riley's. At that moment, an indescribable feeling overwhelmed her. She wished she could rush into the emergency room, shake Miles awake, and loudly tell him not to have any more dealings with Riley. She was truly a danger to him. But there was nothing she could do. She could only hold Lily, comforting her, consoling a wife whose husband's fate was uncertain, just like an outsider. Despite the doctor's best efforts, they could only prolong Miles' life for an additional 2 minutes. In those final 2 minutes, he touched Lily's hand and, as Lily cried, "Wait a little longer, our son is on his way," he looked towards Olivia on the other side, slightly opened his mouth, uttered a few words, and then the lifeline on the monitor flatlined with continuous mournful sounds. In the following days, Olivia accompanied Lily in taking care of Miles' affairs. After Lily regained composure, she asked Olivia, "What did your cousin say to you in the end?" With her head lowered, Olivia whispered, "He told me to take good care of you." As she said those words, she dared not look at Lily, feeling guilty inside. After Miles was laid to rest, Olivia began handling the matters Miles had entrusted to her before his passing. Miles had asked Olivia to safeguard a sum of money, a mix of bills and coins, approximately $300,000. She didn't know where this money came from, only that it was Miles' emergency fund kept with her. He couldn't always use the family's funds to support his hometown. It would strain his relationship with Lily. With this money, if there were ever needs in his hometown, he could handle things more smoothly without compromising his image in Lily's eyes. Miles did use the money a few times for medical expenses for elderly relatives and to support his brother. However, after that, the funds remained untouched, residing in Olivia's account. On his deathbed, while Lily cried for him to hold on until their son arrived at the hospital, Miles used his last strength to silently tell Olivia through lip movements, "Give the money to Riley." Olivia withdrew the entire sum, amounting to 315,000 yuan. She piled the money on the table, feeling a heavy heart. She understood Miles' intentions. Riley was right. Miles had indeed wronged her in the past, and certainly Lily now. However, between these two women, he had always harbored deep love for Riley. So, on the brink of death, the person he cared most about was Riley. Even with his last breath, he wanted to secure her future. Olivia should have followed his last wishes and given the money to Riley. But deep down, she didn't want to do that. It was neither justifiable nor reasonable. Justifiably, this money must be considered part of his post-marriage assets with Lily. Emotionally, did he still have feelings for Riley? Perhaps hatred outweighed love by far. After much consideration, Olivia decided to return the money to Lily. Seeing the stack of bills, Lily's expression was complex. She softly asked, "I've been handling your cousin's affairs these past few days, and his bank cards are with me. Where did this money come from?" Olivia shook her head and said, "I don't know. He just asked me to safeguard it." Lily muttered softly, "Over 300,000 isn't a small amount. How could I not know? Where did it come from?" Olivia didn't want Lily to know too much, so she evasively replied, "Just take it and don't worry about the rest." Lily hesitated but nodded. After settling everything, Olivia finally met with Riley. She only informed her that Miles had been in a car accident and was no longer alive. Upon hearing the news, Riley showed neither sorrow nor joy, resembling a statue. After a long pause, she asked, "When did it happen?" Olivia replied, "On his way to see you." A tearful smile appeared on Riley's face. Olivia continued, "My cousin knew about your involvement with another man. Now that he's gone, consider things even between you two." Riley sneered and softly asked, "Even? How is it even?" Shaking her head, Olivia said, "I don't understand. I don't know. All I know is my cousin is gone. I think you must have cursed him, right? Just consider your past curse fulfilled. Since you have a new man now, go on with your life. Don't hurt my sister-in-law, she hasn't done anything wrong." With that, Olivia stood up and left. On her way back, she received a call from Lily. "Olivia, I know how your cousin's 300,000 came about." Olivia's heart tightened. "What happened?" Lily said, "I checked all his transactions and found he regularly withdrew a few hundred yuan every few days. If I hadn't intentionally looked into it, no one would have noticed such small amounts. I guess he might have saved up this money this way." A chill ran down Olivia's spine, a bitter lump forming in her throat. Miles had gone to such lengths for Riley, over 300,000 yuan, accumulating bit by bit. How long did it take him to save that much? Olivia didn't know. All she knew was that, for this woman he had once betrayed, Miles quietly saved money, planning for her every moment and every second. He loved Riley so much, yet he could heartlessly abandon her when faced with interests. He treated her so ruthlessly, yet in the final moments of his life, he gave all his concerns to her. This man, so affectionate and callous, shameless and innocent. In this entanglement, Lily was the only pitiable one. And Olivia, as the sole confidant, was now burdened with this heavy secret, going to commemorate a man she couldn't clearly judge as good or bad.